What is up, guys? It's the John Gaz. I'm coming at you today with a very special episode, at least to me, of conspiracy theories. The show that we are going to be talking about today is Scrubs, starring Zach Braff, Donald Faison, Sarah Chalk, John C. McGinley, Neil Flynn, among others. Scrubs is a fantastic show. If you guys haven't seen it, I strongly recommend you watch it. They have all 9 seasons on Netflix, but we're going to just forget about the 9th one because it's really not important. And if you have Netflix, there's really no reason for you to have not seen it. It is that good of a show. It has the perfect balance of comedic moments and dramatic moments, and it is a series that I think everyone should experience before they die. That's really intense. If you're unfamiliar with what Scrubs is about, no need to worry, I will sum it up for you right here. What Scrubs is basically about is a somewhat normal guy who works in a hospital. The show follows him around in his daily life and records his relationships with his patients and other members of the hospital staff. Like I said, it's probably one of the best dramedies to have ever been on TV, and I strongly recommend you watch it, but enough of that, we're going to jump right into the theory. Now, the typical theory for Scrubs is as follows. There's a character on Scrubs whose name is Janitor, and if you can't guess, he is the janitor of the hospital. Now, the original theory and most popular theory for Scrubs states that the janitor was actually a figment of JD's imagination throughout the entire series. However, if you watch the entire series, you see the janitor developing relationships with other members of the hospital staff, and that really just doesn't make sense. Now, supposedly, though I read this on the internet, so chances are it's probably true, because no one ever lies on the internet, the janitor in season 1 actually was a figment of JD's imagination according to the writers. Or at least that was their original plan. However, audiences received the janitor really well. Not only that, but the crew of the show really liked having Neil Flynn, the guy who played the janitor, around. Apparently, he was one of the funniest guys on set, and nobody really wanted to see him leave. But to keep the janitor around, the writers decided that they had to expand on his character, and to do that, they had to make him a real person. Now, following that, the theory expands as well. The janitor isn't just a janitor. He is actually a retired psychologist. Now, let's think about the janitor's personality traits really quick. He is always analyzing the personalities of the patients and the doctors around him. And he never really seems to be doing any real janitorial work unless someone important is walking by. For example, the chief of medicine or any of the board members. On top of all this, he's able to manage a close yet somewhat distant relationship with basically all of the hospital staff. Or at least as far as we know, the more important members of the hospital staff who are the characters that the show follows. He tends to keep closer relationships with those who are emotionally unstable. For example, Dr. Cox, Elliot Reed, or JD. And on top of all this, as we've seen throughout the entire series, he knows how to play head games with just about everyone. Now, what the theory states is that the janitor used to be a very good psychologist, though, as we know, his methods are kind of unusual as he likes to play pranks and kind of harass some of the people he's analyzing, and therefore he lost his license to be a doctor. And because of that, he took up a job as a janitor at a hospital, because that way he would get to be around the medical environment that he knows and loves, despite having to be kind of on the lower end of the totem pole of it. But also he would be able to spend time with patients and doctors. But also in addition to this, there are some more relationships that kind of add to the theory. For example, the reason that he harasses JD so much isn't really because there was a penny in the door, but because JD reminds him of his former younger self. And that's why he gives him such a hard time. He loves him in the way that he knows he is a good doctor who actually cares, much like him. But he hates him somewhat out of jealousy that he still gets to practice as a doctor. And also from the start, at least from the janitor's perspective, he came into the hospital young and cocky and he needed to be taken down a peg. Even though we, as the audience who could hear JD's thoughts, know that that's not actually true. And the reason he is so obsessed with Elliot is because she reminds him of his ex-wife who left him when he lost his doctorate license and he never got quite over her. Now that is basically the entire theory. Now before you go down below and comment that it doesn't really make sense and that you doubt that it's true, let me remind you of something. Those of us who have watched the entire series know that the Janitor used to be an Olympic athlete and used to be a movie star. And keeping in mind how well he is at manipulating people and getting them to do or believe what he wants, I feel like it isn't too far of a leap to say that he has a good understanding of how the human brain operates. And that could mean that he used to be a psychologist, and this is just kind of a Goodwill Hunting situation going on. But like I said, that is the theory, and thank you guys so much for watching. Now before you go, I want to ask you guys to make sure you rate so I know what you thought of the video. Comment down below any suggestions for future theories, or maybe you can add your own little tidbits of knowledge to the theory I talked about today. And you can also subscribe if you want to be notified every time I make another conspiracy theory or a Secrets of Cinema or my Challenge Accepted video that will be coming up with my 25,000th subscriber. We are almost there, guys. We are almost to the 25,000 mark, and just for that alone, I want to thank you guys again. And when you're done with all that, and if you feel like being a super fan, feel free to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, and like my Facebook fan page. Any tweet I get, any picture comment I get, or any Facebook message I get, I always try to respond, just so you guys know how much I appreciate your support. So for the third time in one video, which I think breaks my own record, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for your support. Stay beautiful, stay awesome, and stay fresh.